Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today we are thinking about modern marketing. That is a thinker, and luckily I have G here who's gonna really help us think about this in a whole new way. So thank you so much, G, for coming onto my show and sharing your time and your perspective with me. I truly appreciate this. But let's just dive right in. When you hear those words, modern marketing, what does that make you think about?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on, Mitzi. I do appreciate it. I welcome the opportunity. Um, I I think the issue for startups and small business owners uh, today is that we're finding that more we're doing more and more stuff. Okay, we're more and more active in what we think marketing is, which is another subject, but ignoring that, what we think marketing is, and yet we seem to be spending more and more time, probably spending more and more money, and we're getting lower and lower results.
Mm-hmm.
And my contention is that the reason why this is happening is firstly, what we're doing is not actually marketing, it's promotion, which are two different things. And secondly, we are trying to create efficiencies and automations in this promotional engine that we've created to the point where the essence of our communication is devoid of emotion.
Mm.
And by removing the emotion from the equation of this type of communication, takes away the soul of that message
Yeah.
and is so therefore more likely to be ignored. And it's clearly being borne out. I mean, in the marketing industry, we've had some kind of automation. 25 years ago, we didn't call it AI, but we had um, automation systems, mechanics, custom audience profiles, remarketing tags, cookies, all of this sort of stuff, which was supposed to create a more effective marketing capture engine.
Yeah.
But it's failed us, and the reason why it's failed us, I think, is because we've taken this, as I said, we've taken the soul out of the messaging. The issue with any type of communication, not just marketing, is that there needs to be a a position of communication that comes across with humanity, with nuance, with humor, with whatever it may be, but an emotional component. And the reason why that's important is something to do with the way that our brains work.
Yeah.
The way that we form memory structures in the brain is based upon information, of course, sure, but how well that memory sticks in our
Yeah.
brain
Mm-hmm.
is to do with the emotional component of that piece of information. Let me give you an example. Look at your own life, Mitzi,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Look at some of the memories that you've had in your life. I will bet, I know, any of the memories that you can recall today throughout looking back on events in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you can tie them up closely with an emotion. Now, that emotion could be happiness, pride, could be sadness, could be anger. Okay, it doesn't actually matter what the emotion is, but the stronger and more salient, as more uh, deep seated the emotional response to the event, the deeper, the more impactful, and the more vivid the memory is,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And we all have the memory. It's just like a smell. Sometimes you go around, you
Nostalgic.
get a smell, or
Mm-hmm.
a song, and it instantly transports you back
Mm-hmm.
in time, right? Why does it do that? Okay. It's not just the song. It's not just, the event which you associate that song with. It's not just the event you associate that smell with, the people who are around, all the rest of it. It's how you were feeling at the
Mm-hmm.
time. That's part of the bookmark, if you like.
Yeah.
What we're doing with marketing today is we're exorcising the emotion out of the communication. So what's happening is the majority of our communication is mediocre. It's instantly forgotten,
Yeah.
right? We can't recall all of this stuff. And since the recollection of the communication is basically all that marketing is creating that memory structure in a customer's brain so that when they are ready to buy, they consider what we're selling as well as the other ones, the other people who are there, they're considering to buy from as well, right? That consideration set, as we
Yeah.
call it in marketing. That's all we can do as marketers, right? We can't put a gun to their head, right? We can't put their arm up their back and say buy, right? That's
Yeah.
not how it works.
Exactly.
Pretty easy to market if that's the way we do it, right?
Yeah.
All we can do, it's like SEO for your brain, okay? So that when you are in the market to buy and you're looking to buy something that we sell, you think of us as well as probably our direct competition. So if
Absolutely.
that's the case, we need to form those memories. And to form those memories, we need emotion. And the reason why marketing isn't effective anymore is because 99% of marketing is devoid of emotion. That's a very, very long answer. I do apologize, but I did warn you before we started, didn't I?
It's perfect. To be honest, I love the in-depth of where you went with this because it just shows that it's not just on the surface level of what we see, the commercials, or what we see when we are just out and about and we see billboards, we see magazines, we see text messages, we see, you know what I mean, all these different forms. But you're right, we lose that connection, that emotional attachment. We are emotional human beings. And when we don't have that emotional connection, to drive us, motivate us, or even pressure us in any type of way, then we are not going to do anything because happy doesn't sell. If somebody's already content in where they at and what they have, then they're not going to feel enticed to buy such product or to feel the need to have such product because they are content in where they at. But where if they have that memory, where they have that emotional connection, where they have that desire for needing that product, for needing that in their home or in their environment, it does make somebody motivated to go out of their way to purchase it, to go out of the way to do their research on the product or on the company and really see if it deems worthy enough for themselves. So I absolutely love that you brought that up to par because I have yet to have somebody talk about marketing and bring that into the equation. And I have spoken to many people about marketing and
I'm sure.
they
Yeah.
talk about the stats, the logistics, but
Yeah,
when you bring the
they talk about crap, Mitzi. Okay, they talk about
yeah.
shiny, flashing lights. Okay,
Hmm.
or they're talking about parsley. Okay, it's parsley on your plate. Do you really care whether there's parsley on your plate or not? You don't really,
No,
do you?
can't even
No,
taste it really.
not really. It's there. Whether it's not there, you're not going to complain if there's no parsley on your plate, are you? Right
Yeah.
now, if your steak's not cooked well, right, or your chicken's half raw, there's a different
Hmm.
matter. Okay,
Hmm.
what we're talking about is the meat in the sandwich. What we're talking about is the reason why people react to stimulus. And that core essence needs to be emotionally based. You think every January, okay, the advertising and marketing industries get wound up looking forward to the Super Bowl ads. Yeah?
Hmm. Yeah.
And then the following week, there's a dissection of every ad, rating it and looking at how much people have spent and, what celebrity has suddenly appeared in the corner and all of that sort of stuff. Okay. And if you ask the average person in the street, which ad did you like best in the Super Bowl ad? They will remember the funny ad,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
They won't remember the serious ad. They won't.
Hmm.
They won't remember the vanilla ad, which the product sounded great and had loads of features and offered loads of benefits and it's all great and wonderful. But if it didn't move you emotionally, you're not going to remember it. And that's like 24 hours after it aired.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Like I hate the
We
ads that like they drag on until the very end and then they reveal what they're even sponsoring or what they're trying to entice you to get. And I'm like, why did we go through all of this just to get here? Like, it bothers me. So yes, I understand.
and yeah, well, and look at your own reaction. It's creating a negative association with that brand
Yeah.
rather than a positive one. There's a famous neuroanatomist by the name of Jill Bolt Taylor, and she has a fantastic quote which I use quite often. Okay,
Hmm.
so Jill's quote is, and she's been studying decision making and human behavior for decades. Okay, so what she says is, we think that we are thinking creatures that feel, but in actual fact, we are feeling creatures that think. In
Hmm.
essence, we are feeling creatures. Anything we buy, anything we buy, apart from commodity type purchases, right? Paper clips. I don't care which brand of paperclip I buy. I'm sure you don't either, right? Anything that we buy from the heart. We buy emotionally. It is an emotional decision to purchase. And then after we've bought, we post rationalize that purchase logically. We spin a story to ourselves to convince ourselves that what we bought was the right thing to buy.
Hmm.
Okay? If I use my own experience as an example, if I'm walking along the high street and I pass a shoe store and I look in the window and I see these amazing pair of shoes,
Hmm.
okay? I'll walk into the store, I'll try them on,
Hmm.
and they're great. I absolutely love them, okay? Then I flip them over and I see the price sticker, right? And then I'm wondering, what's that? The serial number or is that the price? I mean, that's got that's a big number, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I'm so enamored with the shoes for whatever reason, I decide to purchase them. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Then I go home.
Hmm.
I take them out of the bag, take them out of the box, and I look at these shoes. What happens, right? The first thing I say is, "Oh my goodness, how much have I spent on a blooming pair of shoes?" Right?
Hmm.
But then what do? We we talk to ourselves. We spin our story to ourselves, right? I'm saying to myself, well, look at the quality of this leather. I mean, it's like soft as a baby's tushy. Look how nice and comfortable they're going to be.
Yeah.
They're just going to be fantastic, right? Then look at the design. I mean, they're going to go with everything that I've got. In fact, they're replacing probably 2, 3 pairs of shoes, right? Because they go with so many things. And
Hmm.
look at the workmanship. I mean, these things are so well made, they're going to last longer than, twice the other pairs of shoes. In actual fact, I'm saving myself money. Do you see what I mean? I
Hmm.
spin this story to myself, and we all do it.
Hmm.
We post rationalize logically to convince ourselves that that emotional purchase that we made was a good one. And if we believe the story, we keep the product. And if we don't, then we're back down the store the next day to get a return.
Hmm.
This is why emotions are so important. This is why narrative is so important. And this is why so many businesses are failing with their marketing, because they're not doing any of this stuff. Because I won't tell you otherwise, Mitzi. That stuff is hard. It is not easy. It's not something that you can whack into Chat GPT and have it vomit out something else at the other end. It
Yeah.
is hard to do,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
it's the only way to base a marketing plan on achieving the goals, the growth plan that you've set out for your business.
Yeah, it really sounds like to really sum everything up that it's to have modern marketing, you need to have emotional connection. You need to have that understanding that unites us as human beings because there's so much things out there that are trying to divide us and separate us when all you need to do for to have somebody even consider your product is to have that emotional connection, to have that emotional, oh, that need or that desire or that awe moments, you know what I mean? And I loved your example of the shoe because oh my goodness, how many times have we bought something that we were like, "Ugh, did I really need to get this shirt or did I really need to get this type of whatever?" You know what I mean? Everyone can just fill in the blank and just consider, was that product really necessary? And I think that's the reality of what we're realizing is that we don't really need as much junk in our lives. You know what I mean? I think deep down inside we all desire some type of minimalistic lifestyle, but the fact that there's always this crave of just keeping up with life or keeping up with somebody else is always daunting in the back of our mind. So I guess how do people necessarily remove um that 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 fear factor when it comes to making that step?
I think there's two things. Firstly, the emotion doesn't have to be a positive emotion.
Mm,
Okay. It can be a negative emotion. Okay. Fear is a great emotion to sell on. Okay. The entire insurance industry is based on fear.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason why we get insurance,
Mm-hmm.
because of the what if, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make the point that it doesn't have to be a happy or a pleasurable emotion, but it
Mm-hmm.
needs to be an emotion. Secondly, the fear factor for going forward, I think it's not a question of fearing the unknown as to what to do if you do it. I think the fear factor is to know what will happen if you don't. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody very clever once said, if we keep on doing what we're doing, we keep on getting what we're getting, right? I think it was Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think it was, but it may have been somebody else. The point is, what got you here won't get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, again, somebody very important said something like, doing the same thing each time and expecting a different result is a definition of
Insanity.
madness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if what you're doing is not, if what you're doing is working and is contrary to what we've been talking about today, then I take my hat off to you. Do not change a thing. Milk it for all it's worth. Absolutely. But for everybody else, the 99% of people who are trying to grow their business and are finding it tougher and tougher, the only way you're going to be able to do it is to change the way that you're communicating with your existing and future customer base, because it's clearly not working. So you can carry on doing what you think is safe and what is basically a version of what your competitors are doing,
Mm-hmm.
or you can try to break new ground to create those new memory structures where you're creating some differentiation and some distinctiveness about your product or brand within the category where you sell, so that when people think of what they want to buy from you, they think of you as opposed to the competitor. It's not a nice to have, it's an essential, right? It's not like, oh, well, we can get away without doing it. Well, no. Can you get away without having a roof on your office? No, right? Because not only does that roof keep you dry, it protects everything that's in your business.
Mm-hmm.
That fundamentally is what marketing's role is there to do as well. It's to protect everything that your business touches. It's not promotion. It's not, pushing out a couple of social media ads where you're wearing a funny hat and saying, hey, look at me. I mean, please, for goodness sake, right? It's not going to get anybody to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
It's about connecting at an emotional level, and not understanding what the customer problem is, communicating that problem in an effective and emotive way. Now, that is hard. I'm not trying to say that it's easy, but
Hmm.
it's also the only way to getting through to purely effective marketing that's going to have a positive, tangible effect on business growth.
Oh, absolutely. And I see what you're saying. When you have that emotional connection, you are allowed to be vulnerable. You're allowed to be raw. You're allowed to be real in all that you are. And I think when you have that emotional connection, it makes you relatable. It makes you feel seen, and it makes the customer, the other person on the other end that you don't even know about, see you in a way that's like, oh, they understand me, they hear me, they know me in a way without even knowing me. And I think that is one thing that we've really lost in society, is that humanistic, that emotional connection, that heart to heart connection, that in all honesty, we all need that empathy back. You know what I mean? And I feel like with this move of automation and AI, we really have lost humanity, because even with editing services, if you go through Grammarly or any other editing services, they take away emotions from your sentences. They take away the emotions
Absolutely.
from the equation because they want it to be logistical and
Vanilla.
straight rich. Yeah, very dry, very vanilla, very nothing really to spice it up. Like it's like bland oatmeal with
It's
no
bland,
seasoning.
generic crap. And that's
Yeah.
what this is what we're iterating towards. I also think that it's disrespectful and frankly insulting
Yes.
to expect attention from people. I mean, it, it's it's really underestimating the intelligence of your customer, because
Yeah.
people can smell the bullshit today,
Hmm.
right? They can smell inauthenticity from 50 paces. So
Hmm.
if you're putting on this facade of trying to be this, oh, we are great. We have 500 employees in 20 countries and 50 offices. And it's like, yeah. And,
Yeah.
so what, how does that make your product any better? How does that help me understand that what my problems are to the point where your product service actually addresses my problem in a way that shows me that you understand me as a person, me as a business, and we're not. So what we're trying to do is to optimize for the lowest common denominator. So we're just creating great swathes of vanilla, generic, unremarkable, instantly forgettable communication. The only people who are winning that game are the big media companies, right? The Metas and the Googles and these guys are the only ones who are making the money, because you have to use them to get in front of your customers, and they don't care whether the ad or communication works or fails, because they get paid regardless.
Absolutely. And it makes it hard for the small business owners. It makes it hard for people who are trying to create and share their vision with the world. But the only way that you can really share your vision with the world is when you put your heart into it, when you allow your emotions to be seen, where you allow that part of you that people will think, oh, it's irrelevant, but it's truly relevant, because it's like you said, you can do things that are reckless into the world and share it, and yeah, you can may get a couple views, may get a couple likes, maybe a meme, you know what I mean, and be blasted for going viral for that moment, but then you'll be forgettable. Then you won't have no more impact. Then you'll just be a season in time, and that's all that your mark will be. But if you are consistently putting your heart in, you're consistently showing your emotions, it's consistently having that empathy, and every time you produce something out into the world, that's impactful. That's where you see growth. That's where you see change. That is where people get motivated to want to be part of what you're doing. You know what I mean? And that's what really makes things really different. And it sucks because time is catching up to us, G, because I can truly talk to you for hours on end. But what can be some lasting words that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
If you're a business owner and you're struggling with growing your business, it's very simple. It's 4 words: speak with your customers. Not enough people speak with their customers to actually understand what's motivating the customers to buy. It's not about what you're selling; it's about what they're buying.
I think that's beautiful because when you have that understanding, you get the feedback. You know what I mean? And we need feedback to adjust, to change, to evolve, to grow. I mean, there's no way that a circle will stay a circle if unless it then it turns into an oval. You know what I mean? It can grow and it can move, it can get squished, it can move, have all the it's like clay. You know what I mean? It's like Play-Doh. You can form it to be whatever it needs to be to evolve. But the only way to do that is branch out, communicate, open up your
You
doors
need to
to
speak to your
allow
customers
that.
because until you actually understand why they're buying from you and what they're using the product for, how it solves their problem, only then can you better articulate the value proposition to new customers and cut through the noise better and be able
Exactly.
to ramp up that communication, hopefully at an emotional level.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can see it with the example of Apple. I mean, how long has evolved from just being an Apple playlist like music conductor to now just being an actual phone to a tablet to oh my goodness, it evolved because they listen to their customers. And I think you could hear that with any other main media company that's out there that's major, and it's just taking that into consideration of what the customer's needs are and implementing it into your product or implementing into your brand so that you can embody something more than what you even thought that your business could be. It's truly amazing when you hear what other people have to say and you get that outsider's viewpoint. And yeah, I think that is truly holds value for any business owner, for any person who entrepreneur, anybody who has something that they're trying to give out into the world and market it, but not finding that success that they're looking for. So yes, I think that holds so much value. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more about G, because how could you not after this conversation, go check him out. Have access to his website that has access to so much great content, so much information, just so that you can continue on thinking. And if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur who just may need that little extra oomph of advice, go check him out. Ask him those questions. Maybe he can help you in whatever niche that you are diving into, just so that you can continue on thinking. So, with that being said, bye.